Roy Weasel. He's the president of Red Crow Community College. He's been president for 7 years, and in that time, he has brought many changes to Red Crow. Some of those changes include increase in elder presence in all aspects of Red Crow Community College operations. He increased more programs at Red Crow. The programs offered include Niitsitapi Agriculture Preparatory Program, Niitsitapi Agriculture Certificate Program, 2+2 Arts and Science Program, Niitsitapi Educational Teachers Assistant Program, Addictions Counseling, Social Work Diploma, and Indigenous Bachelor of Social Work Degree Program, Indigenous Mental Health Diploma, and Adult Upgrading. Other programs are being planned for delivery to Blood Tribe members in anticipation of the new Red Crow Community College main campus. Roy has been involved extensively in the RCC capital planning along with Blood Tribe leadership. He has met with all levels of provincial and federal ministries to secure funding to build a new campus. It is anticipated that many more Blood Tribe members will attend Red Crow Community College. And here's Roy to give you words of encouragement on Reconciliation Week.
Okia Nixoko, Nistoako Namaka. Good morning, my relatives. I'm Roy Weasel, president of Red Crow College. Red Crow College and the Blood Tribe community have long established relationships with the city of Lethbridge and the surrounding towns in southern Alberta. So we have many connections with mainstream businesses, mainstream educational institutes, and we patronize, local businesses. So in terms of reconciliation, the Blood Tribe membership have really established good relations with the southern Alberta community. And in terms of education, I believe that Red Crow College has contributed significantly to the indigenization of the various post-secondary institutes in southern Alberta. Just to name a few of the post-secondary institutes, Red Crow College and its elders made significant contributions to the University of Calgary Indigenous strategy efforts as far as providing cultural information to their leadership, to their instructors, to their students. And we have done that with other post-secondary schools. We did that with Bow Valley College, and our members have contributed to indigenizing Lethbridge College. Same with U of L. So that work is ongoing. And in terms of reconciliation, I think we have done our job as far as providing Kainai cultural information to the different communities in southern Alberta. And The Blood Tribe and its members have long always been, I should say, called Lethbridge our hometown. And I think over time, we have also established a Red Crow College satellite campus in Lethbridge, and that is to serve our urban Blackfoot community members who reside in the city, as well as our college is open to anybody that is interested in attending Red Crow College at the city. Also, the Blood Tribe contributes significantly to the southern Alberta economy. Blood Tribe has a large land base whereby agriculture is practiced, and many of the farmers that lease our land market their products in the city. So there is that contribution from the Blood Tribe. And in terms of educating our community, we hope to train for the southern Alberta economy in terms of jobs. We certainly have had a good history in terms of training our students so they can get jobs not only in our community, but the outside community. Many of our members either go to the city in Lethbridge or Calgary, where the jobs are available for our community members. And the training really helps our membership access better jobs, thereby having a better life in terms of supporting their family. So we are very focused on education and educating our community. And those that we have contacts with, and I believe we are doing the work that's involved in providing the educational services for our community and beyond. So the establishment of good relationships with outside communities is one that we encourage. And because our population is growing, our young people need to be trained, thereby accessing better jobs outside of our community. So that's just briefly what Red Crow College is about. So I'll conclude there.
The next presenter is Calvin Williams, Matsa Odan. Pretty Shields is his Blackfoot name. So Calvin is from the Many Children clan of the Blood Tribe. He's a promoter of our Kainai way of life. He's a past member of the Sacred Ikoli Society for 23 years and is a current member of the Brave Dog Society. He is a board member, elder representative of Red Crow Community College, and he was a member of the 1986-88 Blood Tribe Chief and Council. He's a former crime prevention coordinator of the Blood Indian Reserve and former member of the FNMI Advisory Council for Lethbridge Community College. He has worked in the following fields: childcare, juvenile corrections, correctional officer, and community release officer, which is social worker 1, for Alberta Solicitor General and emergency medical response. He possesses a broad range of knowledge and awareness and understanding of the history, culture, worldviews, and contributions of the Blackfoot people. He is very familiar with tribal governance, both traditional and contemporary, and has knowledge of the terms of Treaty 7 negotiated by Chief Red Crow with the Crown. He is also familiar with blood tribe history, holistic healing, storytelling, Blackfoot legends, traditional math, peacekeeping, physics, and worldviews. And here is Calvin.
Okay. It's always nice to start off with introductions. So at this time, it'll be nice if we know who's on the other side. If you could name yourself with your traditional name. And then this will give you a chance to practice your Blackfoot. And
Well, I think I have to go first. So, Ukinastunadaniko and Nukaput. It was gifted to me by Reg Croshu at I worked last year at the university with you.
okay,
Elder Circle.
okay.
I don't say it very well. I think
What does it mean?
Inukaput is little snow falling, and Reg Croshu gave it to me in a ceremony at the UFC last year. I don't know any other Blackfoot name for myself.
Okay, that's a powerful name. You're going to be, the snow will be covering our ground in a few weeks. And next.
Good morning, Calvin. Mr. Biaki, and it was my mother's name, who was Lillian Tailfeathers, and given to her by her grandfather. And it was given to about 20 years ago.
Good. That's a good name.
And good morning. I'm so glad to be here.
Karen.
And actually, Calvin, we have about over 60 people watching now, so I don't think we can do those introductions, but you've got a lot of fans, so we're
good.
all excited.
We're, how far north are we? Anybody from the north, Alberta, or is it all Lethbridge?
There's a couple comments. The first thing is though that Karen McPherson has joined us, and so I allowed her to talk. It sounds like she wants to share her Blackfoot name.
Okay.
But I don't hear her yet. Go ahead.
Oh, that's just my error. I picked up my phone to see what was happening and I raised my hand and I just saw that, so I apologize. I do not have a Blackfoot name.
Okay, Karen. Next.
Maybe in time. So then we also have a comment from a class. Amanda, do you see that comment?
Yeah, I see it. It says, "Okay, everyone, we are a class of grade 10 students joining you this morning from Catholic Central High School. Present are Emily Fox, Sarah Harmon, Teresa Spearman, and a group of 20 students." So good morning, Catholic Central. We have Perry, who is from Calgary, and we have some people watching from Kainai Healing Lodge, and
Good.
some people from Lethbridge Family Services. So.
Okay, we're gonna start off with the work that Red Crow Community College has done in indigenizing the outside institutions like the U of C, as Roy had mentioned. They brought together a group of elders to to come up with a strategy, and they called it itapato, itapato. And itapato, to one of the elders, was in the old days when our ancestors were moving around. They migrated with the buffalo. They followed the buffalo, and they would come to a certain place that they were familiar with, and in this location they could stop and camp, and all the necessities that they require is to patapio paki. We're all in this location, and they didn't have to fear for their safety. It was kind of like a peace area, and you could stop there and you could rest, and all the things that they needed to survive were there. Water was one of the most important things that you try and find when you're traveling, and also firewood, and also game. There was a lot of buffalo at that time. That was our source of life. That was what the Creator gave us to use to survive. So you can say Stipatapio, it was a source of life, as well as water. So the elders at that time, along with Roy, they recommended that they give the U of C that Itapato strategy. And I think they have a center now at the university. I'm not too, Pam, you can correct me on this, okay? They have a place where the students can all come together. It doesn't matter what kind of nationality you have. And you can come and you could fellowship with other students at this place. And storytelling has to have a setting. In our private homes, your grandparents or your grandfather, your uncles, they create that setting where they're going to start telling you stories. I can remember my grandmother, Itumokumi, first caller, would pour herself a great big can of tea. And in the old days, they used to use cans for cups. The bigger the jam can, the better. They would fill it right up with tea, and she would sit there and she'll roll cigarettes, and then she'll start thinking, what am I going to teach the children? What kind of a story am I going to teach our children so that they can get a moral out of it, a value? And we would all sit there and she would tell us about the days gone by. And these stories that we heard happened a long time ago. Much like our transfer ceremony, these stories have been handed down from generation to generation. So now is the time that the people that are viewing this session, they could start learning stories that they can share, very valuable stories. One of the stories that I heard was Puwakski. Puwakski. Payi mata. Nit naksipis tuku si matan sinskut si wai payi. Ano nakay ano mi cheese kan itan sinskut si wai payi. Mukpuakski was a young man, a very poor young man that lived and cared for his grandmother, and they lived with their camp. And one day, the old lady heard that one of the chiefs was going to permit his daughter to marry one of the young men in their camp. So they all started approaching this young woman, and she kept refusing the men that approached her. And the old lady told her son, go over there and ask to be her husband. And Puakski was very shy. And because of, the way he knew that he didn't have a lot to offer, kind of hesitated to go and ask this young lady. And finally, just to satisfy his grandmother, he went over there. And when that young lady seen Puakski, she told Puakski, I'll marry you, but I want you to get rid of that scar on your face. So Puakski really was kind of heartbroken, because that was impossible to do, to get rid of a scar, especially at that time. So it was kind of like a polite no. And Puakski went home. He was not feeling good. And the old lady, when she seen her grandson, she was very curious. She asked Puakski, what did she say? And Puakski was told her, she said yes, but I have to get rid of this scar. And that old lady laughed out, and she said, Matsiko, that's no problem. Natosi is the sun. Natosi will heal you, will take away that scar, but you have to go and find him. So she started preparing some extra clothing, some food that he was going to take on his journey. And he told Puakski, you go to where the sun comes up. That would be the east. And Puakski listened to his grandmother, and he followed her instruction. He started going east. And I asked some of the old men that were my elders about this story. And some of them said he must have traveled to Lake Winnipeg, that far east, where he seen this young boy playing on an island. And the elders said that was all our land. That was all our traditional territory where we hunted. So he must have went, and that's where our sandhills are, same location. He went that far east, and he's seen this young boy playing. This story is very long. Along the journey, he met many animals, and they helped him to on his journey. We're gonna shorten it, and it's also when you speak in Blackfoot, it has more impact. So we're gonna because you don't understand Blackfoot, we're gonna tell you in English. Yeah. So he went to he seen this young boy playing on that island, and he went across. He studied that boy. He was just watching that boy. Finally, he went across on two waterfowl, two water birds. I don't know if it was the swan or the geese. He went across, and when he went across, he started playing with that boy, and that boy was having so much fun, he didn't really realize that another human had come to the island to play with him. He was having so much fun. And finally, when they got tired, he thought, there's another person here with me. And he asked Pawuxki, what are you doing here? And Pawuxki told that young boy about what that young girl had told him to do, the instructions that she gave him to remove that scar. And that young boy said, let's play some more and I'll help you. I'll find Natuts. So they started playing again, and finally they got tired. And finally that boy told Pawuxki, I'm going to take you. I know where Natusi is. I'm going to take you. You hold my hand. You close your eyes and you don't open them till I tell you. So Pawuxki held that boy's hand. And next thing that young boy told him, open your eyes. Push up. And Pawuxki opened his eyes. It was a different location, different. There was a teepee in the background. There was a woman that was walking towards them, kind of like in an angry way. And when she got closer to Pawuxki and that boy, and she scolded her son, I told you not to bring humans here. Your father is going to kill him. She was really upset. And that little boy started crying. And he said, I don't have anybody to play with. He's my new friend. And that woman had compassion for her son because she knew what his response was true. He had nobody to play with. And now he had a friend to play with. So she pitied her son, and she told her son, okay, you take him into the teepee. Your father will be home soon. And the sun went down. The sun went down, and it was getting dark. The next thing, this man came to the camp. And when he came close to the camp, he told his wife, who did my son bring? Because he could smell the human. They say that us humans, we give off a scent. And in the perfect world, there is no scent where the spirit helpers are. It's all perfect. And that woman told her husband, your son brought a friend. He's looking for you to help him remove a scar. And that man told his wife, well, before I can go into that lodge, I want you to burn some sweet grass by the door. And then I'll go into the door, into the lodge. So that woman burnt some smudge in between the door, and that man tried to enter his house 4 times. Then he went in, and not the house, the teepee, his lodge. And he entered his home, and when he entered, he seen that young boy and his son, and he told that young man, what are you doing here? And that boy told that man the whole story of what happened when he approached that young lady to ask for her, to ask her for marriage. And that man pitied that young boy. And he said, I'm going to help you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a sweat lodge. That next morning, early that next morning, those 2 boys got up early and they went out and they started playing. And while they were playing, these birds came and they were at the Pui. At the Pui is man-eater. They started chasing those 2 boys. They were trying to catch them. And those boys, they ran away together. But along the way, that younger boy that was on the island just abandoned his friend, and he left him, and he was saving himself. And Puaksky is Scarface. He kept running. He tried to run as fast as he could, but eventually he got tired. And when he got tired, he couldn't run anymore. So he just reached down and he grabbed a stone, and he turned around and he started hitting those birds. And he started to kill them. I think they said he killed 7 of them. And the rest flew away. And when the danger, when there was no more danger, that young boy came out and he told Puaksky, ha, kikainitaya. That means you killed those birds. And Puaksky kind of felt proud. And he just boasted, that was nothing. And they went home, and that young boy told his mom, this is what happened. My friend saved me. And that that lady was so happy that her son was safe, that his new friend saved him, that she sang a praise song for Puaksky. And the elders told me that was the first praise song that was ever sung, was to honor this young boy for saving their family member. And today we still do that in ceremony, especially at our circle camp. The old people will get up and they'll sing praise songs for young tribal members who have moved on in their life and have joined the transfer ceremonies. The old women too, they all had praise songs. And they said the first praise song came from that woman. That was the start of praise songs. And they started their sweat lodge ceremony. That man that ran that sweat lodge made a lodge for those 2 boys. Puaksky and that boy sat in there, and he told his wife, you're going to sit outside. You're going to work outside. That woman was the one that brought in the rocks, and she worked. She worked outside. She sat outside. She didn't go in. And in Ghana, that's one of the protocols of women, is that they don't sweat, especially the women that have undergone transfer ceremonies. Pumaks, they sit outside. They help out with prayer on the outside while the men are sweating. And that man told his wife, we're gonna open we're gonna open up 4 times, and I'm gonna ask you which one is your son. When I ask you, you pick out your son. So the first opening, he told his wife, which one is your boy? And that woman just easily pointed her son out. The next opening, he asked again, and again, the woman didn't have any trouble. She pointed to her son. The third one, that woman looked in, and she had to wait to really make sure. Then she pointed out her son. The fourth one, when they opened up, yes, and that woman looked in and she got confused, and she pointed to Puaksky. And after that, each round, that scar was slowly disappearing. By the 4th round, the 4th opening, it was gone. So that's where that woman made that mistake, was she couldn't tell which one was her son. And because of that, they called Puakski Bakchopisoaks, the mistaken morning star. And the woman that met the young men when they first went home, that was Kumikis. That was the moon. The man that ran the lodge was Natos. The young boy that was playing on the island was Bakchopisoaks, morning star. So they were all human at one time, and they went into the heavens in our stories, the old stories that have been handed down. And this was the story that I heard from the old men that we used to sweat with. And that's how, when that sweat lodge was over, Natus, he gave Puakski. He told Puakski, you take this down to your people and you use it for healing. Because of that, him being able to heal an impossible injury, the sweat lodge is so powerful that it can heal sickness. And even today, many of the people that have been sent home by Western medicine have gone to the people that are practicing our way of life, and they've been painted with ochre and they've danced with the bundles. Today, some of them are 25, 35, 30 years later, they're still here. And they were sent home by doctors to go home, make peace with their family. They don't have very many months left to live. That's where our ceremony has, prolonged their lives. If you really believe in our way. So that was the story of Scarface. And the next story I'm going to tell you is about the snake design TP. On the reserve, I think there's 2 people with that design. One of them was one of the teachers for the Magpies. His name was Makuyapi, Willie Scraping White. He had a snake design TP. And this story that I heard comes from Orton Eagle Speaker. Orton Eagle Speaker was my cousin. He was the one that made crow-style teepees for the Magpie Society. And he also, he had a painted lodge. I think he had several. And he did a lot of teepee design transfers for a lot of the tribal members here in Canada. And the story that he told me was about the snake, the first snake design teepee that Nitsitapi, or Nitsitapi is real people, that they received. And it starts off, there was two young boys who were who were rejects of their of the tribal youth. These 2 young boys were not wanted. They couldn't participate in any of the other activities the other youth were enjoying in camp. They were rejects. And they had nobody but each other. They kept each other company. And this happened to the southeast side where Itchasinai now live. Itchasinai is the around Fort Belknap, Montana, the Assiniboines, where they camp now. Our people were camped over there. And at that place, there's a lot of rattlesnakes. And back then, our people were not scared of them. They would camp anywhere. And these two young boys, they wanted acceptance. They wanted to be accepted and respected by their camp. So they stayed together. They were kind of like loners because nobody wanted them. One day, the older boy told his younger brother, I know how we can get accepted, how we can make friends, how people will want us. Let's go on a vision quest. And they both planned out how they were going to go into the wilderness, into the prairie to do a vision quest. And their thought was, when we finish our vision quest, people are going to start wanting us. They're going to ask for our help because we're going to get a gift out there. So they planned out how they were going to sneak away and do a vision quest. The vision quest, the best time you can do a vision quest is when the moon is full. And that's the best time to do a vision quest. That's when the spirit helpers are really around, is when that moon is full. And they waited until that period of time. Then they snuck away. And they rode away from their camp on their horses. They had all their supplies, what they were going to use. And when they found a location that they were gonna sit, the older one told his younger brother, I don't think you should stay. I think you should go home. I'll stay and I'll do a vision quest. You go home and you lie to our parents where I'm at. Say I'm out visiting. I don't want you to get hurt. What the vision quest is very hard ceremony, and I don't want anything to happen to you. So the younger brother didn't want to leave his older brother. He was refusing to go home. Finally, he gave in, and the older brother told his younger brother, "You lied to our parents. When they start asking where I'm at, you lie. You say I'm out visiting new friends. I'm going to be here. On the fourth morning, you come and get me. I'll be done." So that young boy went back. He went home. And he lied to his parents where his older brother was. And the parents were so glad that the older brother found friends. They didn't question, because they knew their sons were rejects of the camp. And here, when the younger brother went home, the older brother started to look around, and he set up his sight. And he sat down. He sat down on the ground. And while he was sitting there, he was looking around, studying the area. And while he was sitting there, next thing, these snakes start crawling out. They were crawling towards him. And his reaction was he started killing them. He started killing those snakes that were coming towards him. He was scared of them. And that young boy waited. He kept waiting. He followed the instructions of his older brother. The fourth morning, he went and rode to that place where his brother was at. When he got there, he found his brother's belongings still in place, but he wasn't around. And that young boy started waiting, and he sat down where his brother's bedding was. And while he was sitting there, those snakes came out. They started crawling out towards him. And he took one of those snakes. He really found it cute. And he was playing with it. And he took a little piece of material, red material. And he took that material and he put it around that snake's neck. And he let it go. And he waited there. Finally, he thought, I better go home. My brother must be out wandering around. He went home. He was really curious. Where did my brother go? And while he was sleeping in his lodge, he was still thinking, where's my brother? And next thing he heard, a horse running towards their lodge. And he knew it was a horse rider. And this was at night. That horse rider stopped right in front of their door, jumped off and came in. And he went to where that young boy was sleeping. And he told that young boy, come with me. Come with me, my dad wants to see you. And that I know where your older brother is. And when that younger brother heard that, he got ready and he followed that horse rider, that messenger. And they rode towards that location where that his older brother was fasting. And when he got there, there was a teepee. There was a teepee, there was a fire. You could see the walls that the fire was going inside the lodge. That messenger jumped off his horse and went in. And he came back and he said, my father said to come in. And that young boy went in, and you sit where the host tells you to sit. That's a teepee etiquette. And that young boy sat where that old man told him to sit. The old man told his wife, feed our visitor. And he gave him tobacco to smoke. After he was done, a young boy came in. He had a red necklace. And that old man told him, do you recognize this young man? And that young boy looked and says, no, I've never met him. And that old man told him, today you were looking for your brother. And while you were sitting there, you gifted my boy with that necklace. That snake that crawled towards you, that was my son. You were very kind. You were very kind to my family. You didn't kill any of them. But your brother, when he sat down, he started killing my children. So we had to kill him. And that's what happened to your brother. But we're going to spare your life. Because you were kind, I'm going to give you this lodge. I'm going to give you horses to go give to your parents. And that lodge had a snake design on it. And that's how we acquired one of the snake designs that we use today. There's others that are out there, and they have stories how they started. Each teepee design that we get that through a dream. That's why they have the bunny, butterfly, on the west side of the lodge. It's painted on top. That is one way we get teepee designs. And the other way is you steal. You steal lodges. So in the old days, our warriors would go out to other tribes, mainly Morley. I'm just kidding. And that's where we get our lodges. So that's how we acquired the one of the snake design TPs. And the first story I told you about Puwakski, when Natu, she told him, I'm going to give you this lodge to take down. He also told him, I'm going to give you an eagle whistle. When you go down, you blow that whistle, and that young lady that you want will look up and she'll hear that whistle, and she'll look where the noise is coming from. She's going to come to you, and you stay with her as long as you want. And you enjoy her. But there's going to be some time in the future where you're not going to enjoy her anymore. That is why I'm giving you this whistle. So when you don't enjoy her anymore, you blow that whistle. And when you blow that whistle, you're going to give your wife to your brother, Ipitsua's Morning Star. And this happened. Finally, one day he didn't enjoy his wife's company. He blew that whistle and she went to Ipitsua. That was the what kind of a moral can you get out of this story? Pam?
I knew you were going to call on me, Kelvin. I really enjoyed that story. When you were talking about how, well, he really wanted this woman and he went and he prayed on it, but the whistle was gifted to him, and how when we hear the whistle at a powwow and the whole powwow stops, and we honor that. You should have called on my husband. I think he would be able to explain this better. But the moral of the story is that it's always about beauty, because we have that conversation in our household, how the beauty fades. And you made this choice to be with someone, your family, and you have to honor that choice. That's what I heard. Amanda, let's call on you.
Amanda. Like my hands come down.
No, don't get like that.
I would agree with Pam.
Okay.
I know we've got Treena here who's just itching to comment, so
Go, Treena.
she's allowed to talk now. So let's get Treena talking.
Treena?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Between cooking and watching the baby, I wasn't listening the whole time. So I'm caught off
Okay.
guard. But what I heard, I would say the moral of the story was to be kind. I mean, they didn't kill the boy that didn't kill the snake. He respected his environment, and he was respectful. So therefore he was saved.
Okay.
So I think it's that Gimabibitsin, to be kind and patient and compassionate.
Good.
Am I
Good.
correct?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, in the TP, the TP, the story I heard, how we acquired the TP. George First Rider, one of our elders, respected elders, told a story that our people have gone through 4 evolutions, 4 stages of our shelter. The first one, our ancestors, they used abandoned dens or any place where animals used. That had to be a really, really early stage. Probably the like the caveman era. The next stage, the next period was our people started to get more intelligent. They started to get more and they started to use lean-tos that they used as shelter. The next period, the story I heard how we acquired the teepee, a young warrior went out hunting and he got caught in a blizzard and he was almost freezing. So he found the carcass of a dead buffalo. He opened up the stomach and he crawled in there. And that was his way of, keeping alive. And while he was in that body of that he fell asleep. And while he was sleeping, a man came to him and told him, I'm going to give you my lodge. This is how it's going to be. I think it was a buffalo lodge, buffalo knee lodge. And when the storm passed, he crawled out and he went home and he told his people, this is what happened. And that's when our women started to get more and more intelligent. They were able to tan hide. It was kind of crude. And the animal that man was laying in, the ribs, is what supported the hide. So from that story, they tried to make it similar. The women were able to tan hide and to sew that hide the same way. That's where we invented the cone-shaped teepee. At the bottom, they used rocks to weigh the hide down so it won't, blow up or anything. And they had to find a way to keep it up. And they thought of, well, the lodgepole. The lodgepole is going to be the ribs, because the carcass had ribs, bones, and the lodgepole is what represents those ribs, and the hide is the covering. So the next period was we went into the 4th, where women really got intelligent. And they sewed loops at the bottom of the teepee, and they put pegs instead of rocks. And then they designed the curtain, paniktan, to regulate airflow, the smoke to go up to the top. And the tanning was way better. It was way softer. So that was the 4 stages. Our people, we honor creation by drawing the cosmos on the top part of a teepee. They'll draw the Big Dipper and the Pleiades. The Big Dipper is the 7 brothers. The Pleiades are the children that wandered away, that were didn't get what they were asking for from their parents. They're the hunters. They ayami takiya. They were hurt and they wandered away. They all went into the heavens. And that's why I'm saying most of the cosmos, some of the stars started off on the earth and they went up. And we honor the cosmos by painting the stars on the top portion of our lodges. The next level is the iputta, winged animals, the sky. That's the next level. The next level is gawa pumaka. Gawa pumaka is the four-legged. And the next level is the earth, the mountains, the hills, and whatever's underneath. Those are the four levels of creation that we honor, and we draw that on our TP. At Buffalo Rocks.
Puffball.
Puffballs.
Yeah, and all that.
Yeah. The bottom, the puffballs are drawn in circles on the bottom, umi, on the earth's level. So those are the four levels that we honor creation by, drawing them on our lodges, and we believe Creator is looking down at them. And when he sees that, he'll be very pleased that we're honoring his work. So that's the four levels that we have on RTP at Red Crow Community College. And is there any questions? Oh, going back to that Buwakski. You guys, your answers were pretty well correct. And still my version, my thought is, you women quit playing hard to get. When an ugly man comes to you, don't refuse.
No matter how.
Amanda, did you want to ask the questions today?
Okay, I will do my best. Let's hear some questions, you guys. Catholic Central High School would like to thank Elder Calvin Williams and the organizers for this week. Our students have learned so much and will now take their lunch break. Thank you so much. We also have, I'm not sure who this is, it just says SUAD and says giveaway is part of the teaching, and also is saying Okie Uncle.
Okay.
Any other questions? Another story?
I told Scarface Napi.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Napi was wandering around the prairies, and while he was walking, he heard drumming, and he stopped, and he was wondering what direction is that drumming coming from, and he kept walking, and the drumming started to get louder, and he stopped and he seen a nukan, a sun lodge, eh? And from that point on, he heard the sound that was coming from that sun lodge. Pikukix, happy cookinski. And this was a question I asked my elders, and none of them knew what pikuki or pikukinskis meant. And Narcissus blood was the one that told me, Pikoke are those turkey vultures that used to live here. In the old days, when our ancestors hunted a buffalo, they would take everything that they could take, but there's going to be waste. So those vultures, they came and they cleaned up the site. They must have had a society, and they sang in the Okan. From that, when Napi heard that singing, he knew Pikokinskiseta Pinskia, meaning the turkey vultures are really singing their ceremonial song. From that point on, he stopped 4 times before he got to the entrance of the lodge. He stopped 4 times. The 4th one, he was at the door, and he looked in. The weather dancers at the Piscatsimags were really dancing. Way in the corner was an old weather dancer who was really dancing. Hey, taps. That old man just kept rising, going up into the heavens, looking up. Finally, he disappeared. That was his concentration on his dance. Napi asked them, can I dance with you guys? And they told Napi, you can join in. So Napi started dancing. On the 3rd day, he was really thirsty. He went in front of the lodge pole and he took out his eagle whistle. It's sapunsta. Sapunsta means you try 4 times. The 4th one, he threw his whistle at the center pole. The center pole, it just kind of went in. Water started to trickle out of that whistle, the center pole. He took a wooden bowl and he filled that wooden bowl up with water. Then he went to each dancer and he gave them a drink, and he turned around. All the dancers got to drink, and he drank also. When he finished, he took that wooden bowl, turned it over in front of Petsikikuniman, and he placed it there. Then he took his pipe, and his pipe, he gave it to center pole. He told center pole, I give you smoke so that the future will have all night smoke. And my mom told me her version of Kanuchis. Some warriors had gone on a coup. They went to raid, and they got caught. I think there was 3 of them. They got caught. And they were trapped in one of them got hit with an arrow in his belly. And his other friends were helping him to escape, but he was injured. And they took refuge in a brush. And they were waiting there. And that guy that got injured was getting weaker and weaker. And they would move on at night. And finally, that guy that was injured, the warrior that was injured, was concerned about his friends. And he told them, you guys go on, go home. I'm going to be okay here. I'm just slowing you guys down. Because of that, you're going to get caught. And his friends did not want to leave him. They said, Sa, we're going to stay with you. Finally, he was able to convince his friends to go home. His friends said, okay, we're going to go, but we're going to leave you with our pemmican. That'll keep you strong. When we get home, we're going to come back for you. And they went. And that injured warrior was laying there. He was getting weaker and weaker. He's falling asleep. And while he was sleeping, a man approached him. That man told him, come with me. We're going to have a ceremony. And that man told him, I can't walk. And that man told him, Sapu killed. And that man left. Finally, that man started to crawl after that messenger. And he came into view of a ceremony that was taking place where they were sitting in a circle. And that man that went to get him told him, you sit here. And he was just laying there, half sitting up. And they were singing and rattles. So, they were using rattles. My mom's right here, so I can't lie. And they were having their ceremony, and he gave them that pemmican to use in prayer. In our way, when we have meat, pemmican, when somebody gives you even tobacco, you take some and you pray. Then you put it down in the ground. You give it to earth so that it'll regrow, that you have a good trail in your life. And to keep you strong in your relations, all your tribe, that they have a good trail to follow. Those are offerings that we give. And here they were going through their ceremony. And just before it was daybreak, they all got up and they all disappeared. And that man told that injured warrior, stop, it's over. And he walked away, and that man that was injured had to crawl back to his hiding place, and he fell asleep. Oh, before he went, that man told him, we give you this to take home to use with your people. It's the way you've seen it here. And when he crawled back to his hiding place, he fell asleep. And when he woke up, the sun was up, and he thought, I wonder if that was real or if that was a dream. So he's seen his crawl marks, and he followed. Where he crawled, he followed. And he's seen that circle where all those warriors were sitting, those men. And in the ground, his pemmican, the offerings that he gave them were on the ground. So he knew it was real. And he went back, and he didn't give up anymore because he was giving up. And the words that they told him, when you get back home, you use the ceremony. He thought of that, so he went home. It took him a little while to get home. But when he got home, he told the old men, and they did that ceremony. And that's where Canutis and the all-night smoke ceremony was given to us by those spirit helpers.
Yeah, that was the story told to me. I told that to you.
So that, not very many people know this story. If you're ever curious, to that all-night smoke, that's where the origin started. Any questions?
There's some questions.
We have a couple comments. Corinne is asking about, they have heard of the story of the 7 stars, but they haven't been able to find it. And I guess, I don't think we have the time to get into another story, but
No.
I think Corinne, Mary at Red Crow College can, I'm sure, steer you in the right direction. So, and hopefully we will do more of these. Crystal Manyfingers says, thank you, Calvin. I always learn so much from you. And to Roy Weaselfat, our Bow Valley College Vice President Catherine Cook sends her best. Noella says, this would be ideal to have a Red Crow elder provide a daily story for those people who live off reserve. Some people have no connection to their culture or to elders too. And then Suad, can Uncle talk more about Moth, Dream Giver, and says Oki from Suksi.
Oh,
He's from okay, Suksi. Good to know you're in you're on the air, and we send our greetings. We can Red Crow Community College can provide support to all of you. Contact Mary. We've got a lot of information, and also we've got broadcasts on the air. You can tune into Mikay Stu Radio on SoundCloud. We've got a lot of stories that we recorded. So tune into SoundCloud, look for Mikay Stu Radio, and the stories that the elders have really shared a lot of their knowledge. For your information, good things are happening to Red Crow Community College. We're going to be moving into a 10,000 square foot campus in 2 years. We're beginning construction today. We've been able, Roy and the board have been successful in securing many millions of dollars to start our campus. So that's the good news we share with you. You tell your relations in Calgary, Lethbridge, wherever you're at, that good things are happening to Canada and Nitsitapi. All of us are Nitsitapi. White borders separated us and gave us new names, but we're Nitsitapi. Han, real people. Han.
Is that it?
Yeah. Just one more question. Thank you so much, Calvin. This is from Shannon. How often did your elders share stories with you when you were young?
We, like I say, my grandmother created the setting, usually in the evening. She would make herself a lot of tea, and she started to give us her knowledge, eh? And there's many things that she told us, but you know, memory sometimes does not serve us good. We're taught things when we're young, and as we're growing, we forget. We heard a lot of stories. Storytelling was there was no TV, no TV, no radio. It was just words between relations. It was very simple, but it was building us up to be who we are today. So that's it. Hun.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you,
Calvin.
Thank you for including us in your agenda. You did a good job, Pam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to your mom, Sophie, for the beautiful opening prayer. And we'll see everybody tomorrow for our next event.